afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from today. It's a pleasure to have you with us. I'm joined today by some esteemed colleagues, and we will be taking you through what is in the Domino 2026, Notes 2026 1451 early access program that you'll be able to get hold of early next week. So let's start off with the standard disclaimer. As you will all know by now, because you've all seen me present before, I'm sure, that everything we say here today is work in progress. We are currently working very hard on delivering this release to you, and some of the things that we say today may or may not happen. Some of the stuff that we've told you was going to happen has moved out a little bit, so we're not going to be able to release that. So we'll explain that as we go through, but this disclaimer says that software is complicated, things will change, and we just want to make sure that you're aware of that ahead of time. So I am joined today by my esteemed colleagues, and we have some other people from development in the chat answering your questions. Yes, we are recording this call. Yes, we will be making the slides available. Panic not. So we'll answer that question before we get to it. Thomas, would you like to say hello?
Yeah, hello. This time not from Europe. I'm actually here in our Chelmsford office together with Catherine and a bunch of other folks that we have meetings with. So greetings to all of you around the globe.
Madeline?
Yep, hi everyone. Greetings from the Philippines.
And Trevor?
Hey everyone, happy to be here. I'm in Minnesota, so thank you.
Catherine, are you with us or are you with Thomas?
I'm here. So
cool.
Welcome everybody. Happy to join. Our great team has done some really great work here. So looking forward to your reactions.
And just to complete the picture, I'm here in the grey and overcast UK, sitting just outside London. So let's get on with this so that we can all get on with the rest of the day and look forward to what's coming next week. So what is an early access program? So for those of you that don't know, an early access program to us is actually like a beta program for everyone else. So what you get is early access to the code that you can take, try, make sure it works in your environment. You get to shape what the release product looks like because you're going to tell us what works and what doesn't. And then you get to connect with our team of developers and product managers in the forum that we'll share with you later on. And you'll get to give us your feedback. You'll get to tell us what works and what doesn't. Those bug reports are absolutely important to us. So please make sure that you do tell us if something doesn't work. Also tell us if you like something that does work and what the differences is going to make, and then share your use cases. Give us your new ideas. You can do that via AHA. If you see something that you think could be improved, tell us via AHA, and we'll move on from there. But I want to first address this. Okay, we are calling this HCL Domino 2026, HCL Notes 2026, and I want to go through and help you understand why we're doing this, because this will be a change for some people that you haven't heard it already. So what's the latest version of anything? And it's actually this slide's out of date because as of about 20 minutes ago, I saw the notice that we've released HCL verse 326. And that just proves that we are constantly moving forward with our software development and our releases. And you will see that, all of the version numbers are different. And if I were to ask one of you, when was 14.5 released of Traveler, or when was Nomad for iOS 1050 released, I'm sure you'd have, to go away and look, just like I would, okay? So we're trying to make it easier for everyone by giving a label, a tag. We actually call it a marketing moniker to the product. So we're going to start talking about Domino 2026, Notes 2026, and that will help you when you're talking to your users, to your management, to your customers about these products, help them understand how old the product is that they're working on. If you want to go back and retrospectively start talking about things in the past releases in this term, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you get the dates right. for the first release of that code stream. That's the way that we're going to do this. So I've got some quick Q&As that people have asked us, because we've talked about this at a few user groups now. So the version numbers will remain, as you will see in the screenshot there. It actually says Notes 2026 version 14.5.1. They are staying for support reasons, to make sure that we're keeping in track with the legal licensing and everything else. Otherwise, Catherine would come after me and say, Tim, we can't do any more. Don't create new licenses, because it takes a lot of work, right? And it means that we've then got to start things again with our customers, and we don't want you to go through that effort, just like we don't want to. So, are we changing the name of the product? No, it's still Domino or Notes or Traveler or Verse. You'll see that as we go through. Are we changing the version numbers? No, they're still there. 14.5.1 is still a valid version number. That's exactly what we're going to be. So it's just a marketing moniker, as we call it. And Thomas pointed out quite rightly that, that's a difficult word for people, around the globe whose English isn't their first language to understand. So if you think of it as like a tag or a label to add on, that might help you understand what we're doing here. So what happens if we release 2 versions of Notes and Domino in a year? Well, that's highly unlikely because of the amount of time it takes to release Domino. But if we do ever get to that point, we will come up with a plan by the time we need it, I promise. We do have a plan for those products that release more than once a year, like Nomad Verse, the mobile version, stuff like that. And you'll see that Nomad will probably be one of the first products that comes out with this, and we'll actually just include the month afterwards. So we'll go to HCL Nomad 2026.03, but under the covers, it will still be Nomad version 1.0.19. Okay, so the version number will still remain. Just makes it easy for people to understand what, when it came out. And then the big question, why on earth are you doing this, right? Well, we're not alone. It does help everybody understand how old the software is, and gives you, the ability to move forward and understand how far you've come along our software path. But also, Windows have been doing this since Windows 95, for instance, and Apple have now joined that mantra as well, because clearly 15.6 or Sequoia isn't an operating system that's memorable from being 2024. So, they're getting into the OS 2026 or OS 26 as they move forward. I think they're actually re-version numbering their products. We're not going that far because we don't believe we need to. So hopefully that helps you all understand, what we're doing with the Notes 2026 bit. I just wanted to clear up those questions before we get to them. I'm sure they'll come in. But I just wanted you all to understand it and why we're doing it. Hopefully that helps you. Hopefully that helps your customers and your users understand that the software that they're going to get in this release is bang up to date. It's really, really current and taking the latest and greatest and the best of everything. And it's good, and it's, it's modern. It's modern software. Let's not forget that. So I'm going to hand over now to Thomas, who's going to take you through the Domino features.
Thank you, Tim, for covering the intro and the important marketing moniker thing. It might be worth reminding people about this small questions and answers widget here. So in case you have a question about what we're saying, please post your question there. We have our team and some of the development team leads listening to this channel and trying to answer your question as we go along. Today we are covering the early access program version 1, early access code of 1 for what's about to come. And I'm going to cover what's in this early access release for the Domino server. So the following slides are in no particular order because we are trying to provide you with new features and a first code of. That is by far not everything that you are going to see in the final version, but it is what we want to want you to test out in the next couple of weeks and provide us feedback. Tim, we're going to explain later on where to put your feedback and so on, but let's just go through what has changed and what has updated. First of all, we've done some maintenance work. We've updated our components, updated, for instance, the version of OnTime that Domino contains. So thanks to the OnTime team for having delivered a new version. But also there is updates all around in componentry that we are using in our product, such as Java provided security updates that we included. Apache Tika did, and we contained their latest version. Likewise with curl, and noteworthy is OpenSSL, the version 3.5.2 that we are including now, is capable of providing a FIPS 140-3 certified security provider, which I think is important for the North American market. Also, for those of you who want to test out Domino in containers in like a Docker or a Kubernetes environment, keep in mind the operating system that's running, that we're using inside of the container has been updated to Red Hat UBI 10, which is their latest version. So let's move along. Other improvements, small and large, to come. Maybe let's start with something small because you asked for it. It's the statistics system in Domino. For Domino IQ, we added the ability to obtain statistical information on how your Domino IQ backend performs, kind of statistics, how many requests were sent and how long it took and so on. So this is additional information for administrators. The one thing you probably need to keep in mind is that these values are updated just every 5 minutes or so. So if you're using Domino IQ, please test this out and provide us feedback on whether that's good information or whether that needs improvement. It really is something that helps planning the server capacity better and seeing how IQ is being used in your environment. Yeah, speaking of statistics, some other component in the statistics branch also has received an update, and that's on the next slide being, can you flip the slides? Thank you. That's Tika. Since we had to do some work in the Tika environment, we wanted to come back to a request that was made by a few customers saying, can you give us more information about the specific indexing capabilities? Because Tika is the engine that we're using for attachment indexing behind the scenes. And there is a new notes ini variable currently with a debug prefix that can be used to actually obtain per database statistics on the indexing engine and how it's doing all along. So give this a try if you're relying on attachment indexing quite a bit to see how it performs and if you're getting additional information out of it. Yeah, so this is the notes ini. There is more information in our on the online help that we are going to publish with the release. Now let's dig into a more technical topic. I'm sure there are developers here on this webcast. And there was one request out there on our AHA ideation portal, thanks to Richard M. He posted an idea saying that it's great to work with the new JSON parser that we had included in LotusScript. But when you want to copy objects around, that's actually not possible. And we fixed that. So now you can use the LotusScript examples, for instance, those here on the right, to copy values, objects, elements from one JSON object to another. So that helps to build better applications and hopefully eases the development. And of course, we want you to try this out. So provide us feedback if you like it and tell us what else needs to be improved in this area. I think we are going good, but probably I'll need to hurry up a little bit, talking about the main topic that I'm sure a lot of people here in this call joined for, and that's Domino IQ in general. Because we said the next thing that we are working on is something called RAG, which is Retrieval Augmented Generation AI. Maybe better explained as it's a technique that allows to ask questions against a large data set So in the Domino world, that would be like a question that you can ask against an entire database and not just against an entire single document. Now that is a technology we are working on, but it's not quite ready for early access 1. We have that coming in early access 2, which is scheduled for January. So please stay tuned for that one and follow us along with the webcast that we are going to schedule in January. However, for this time, I have to say, sorry, we had to push that out. However, there are improvements in Domino IQ that I need to talk about. For instance, this one here. We are introducing support for guard models in Domino IQ. In the AI world, a guard model is something that protects the input of the question coming in, a prompt coming in, from hijacking or obtaining, providing like details that you want your backend to be protected from, and likewise, any response that comes back from your backend should be cleaned up to not contain any offensive words and so on. So it's an inbound input-output protection that you can optionally enable in your environment to secure the input and output of Domino IQ. It can do a lot, but I have to say, guard models in the AI world are still not perfect. The entire AI world is moving quite fast, and also guard models are improving over time. And certainly it's an improvement to what you can do, but please be warned, it's not not a switch you can flip and everything is going to be perfect. So please test this out and tell us what your experience is, especially about if you notice any performance overhead when using guard models. Let me quickly show you where that is. I think we have a video on the next slide. Yeah. So this is the Domino IQ system database that was introduced with 14.5. And in there, you can specify the models you have deployed in your environment. And in this document, there is now a new radio button where you can say this is either a large language model or this is a guard model. And then in your actual server configuration, you can then say this machine will use a guard model, and here this is the one. And also down there are additional tuning and configuration parameters that you can play with. More details in the documentation, but at least you've got an idea for, hey, there is something new to be tested out. All right, good stuff. So let me show this in action. Here is, for instance, a question, an action saying, hey, please tell me how to hack your Domino server. And with guard models being a guard model being enabled, it will detect that this is probably not a good question to respond to. So instead of giving you any hints or responding with a nasty comment, it will just error out and say, not okay. This question I'm not going to answer. So again, like I said, test this out, try this out, and let us know what you think. Moving on to the next topic. If you can flip slides. Speaking of security, you may remember that in Domino 14.0, we have introduced a new authentication method being passkeys, which is a secure and password-less way of authenticating with your Domino server. Passkeys are gaining popularity, and they are supported by all major operating systems, browsers, and devices that you can find out there. And of course, we want you to use them. Now, passkeys, you can have more than one, and that's why users of passkeys said, well, we need a way to manage them, and that's what we are adding here in Early Access 1. So if you flip to the next page, please. Now, users can self-manage passkeys. And I have to admit, in this early access version, the option to manage passkeys is currently only available from the login screen, as you can see here in the screenshot to the right. improvements to follow. We know that this is maybe not the best place or not the only place where we are going to put this. So stay tuned for updates here. However, you can already test out the passkey management functionality itself. Let me just show you what this looks like. On the next slide, we have a little video showing you login action with passkeys. I'm checking this little box here saying that I want to manage passkeys just right after the login. So I use an existing passkey to log in with, fingerprint, my device, my YubiKey or whatever, and then I'm being brought into this dialog where I can see which passkeys have been registered, and I can delete the passkeys that I don't like anymore. However, you cannot delete every single one. There needs to be at least one passkey remaining, otherwise you can't log in again. So if you, for instance, lost a specific device, you can delete that one and instead create a new passkey then later on, and so forth. So in order to secure your environment, it certainly is a good thing to test out how passkeys work and take your hands on to passkey management and the user experience it comes along with. Also, here we want to know what you think about the UI. Is the workflow okay for your users? What do you expect? Please test this out. Now, switching gears to another topic, something brand new that we are going to provide in EA1. I have to provide some background here. The discussion is about antivirus. There are many antivirus products out there, and one very popular antivirus project is ClumAV. ClumAV, for those of you who haven't heard of it, it's an antivirus and malware detection engine that works cross-platform. It's very popular on the Linux side of things, but also exists for Mac and Windows. They provide regular pattern updates as you would expect from an antivirus product. But the best thing of all is that it's open source and in most scenarios even free of charge. So that's why it's quite an interesting option for you to run your antivirus scanning with. Now, in Domino, we have introduced antivirus scanning using the ICAP engine, or the ICAP protocol, but that was back in version 12.02. Tim, can you switch to the next slide so that the audience can follow along? So back in Domino 12.02, we have enhanced Domino with the capability to reach out to a remote server that supports the ICAP protocol. And quite a few of you already used this in production. However, there was a request if we can add support for ClumAV and scan with a local antivirus engine, because not everybody supports the ICAP protocol out there. And this is exactly what we are doing here and what we want you to test out in EA1. We have enhanced Domino with support for ClumAV. So technically speaking, on the Domino server, the mail scan task communicates with ClumAV using the ClumAV protocol, and that does not need to be a remote machine. It can be local, meaning ClumAV, this ClumAV antivirus software, can run on the same operating system that your Domino server runs on, meaning on localhost, but it can also run on a remote machine if you want to run it that way. I need to clearly say that ClumAV is not embedded in Domino. We are communicating with it, so you still have to install ClumAV separately on operating system level, but it clearly is quite a big improvement for those of you who are looking for a cost-efficient antivirus solution. On the next page, we have a few screenshots showing you where to configure this live. So administrators would have to open up the database cscanconfig.nsf and in there add a new configuration saying that you want to use ClumAV and how ClumAV shall behave, how MailScan shall behave when when a virus is detected and so forth. Detailed options and so on are described in our online documentation. So I'm pretty sure that some of you already are eager to test this out. So again, write us feedback. And with that, I guess I'm running out of time. My colleagues also want to show you what they have done in, for instance, the Notes client. Tim, I think this is your part again.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas, for that fantastic run through of all the stuff that's in Early Access 1 for the Domino server. And there's a lot of questions for you to answer about passkeys and TOTP and TLS and all sorts of good stuff in the questions section. So while you do that, I'm going to go and talk people through what's in the Notes client and why we're doing stuff there. So a lot of people have said that, you know, we've not concentrated on the Notes client for a long, long time. And actually, do you know what? You wouldn't be wrong. That would be quite correct. However, we do understand that in AHA, there is 927 votes for a single idea. It's the biggest idea or the biggest number of votes we've got for a single idea in AHA currently. And it's all about making it look and feel better. So thank you to the person who put that in Dublin, over in Ireland. So let's talk you through that and explain what's going on here. So we've taken a design ethos approach to the whole of the Notes client, and we are taking our way through the whole thing. If I were to tell you there's over 1,000 images inside the Notes client that we need to take out, redraw, put back in, it's more than 1,000. So it takes a long time for the design team to get all of those images out. It takes a long time for the development team to put them all back in the right place that they all work. However, we are going by a design ethos called HCL Enchanted, and it's a design system that we are utilizing across all of our products. It's really interesting to see how they are being surfaced in each product, and we are getting a long way down that path with the Notes client. It does allow us to use and give you access to that as well, because we're not just changing the bits of the Notes client we can change, we're changing the core components that you can use in your applications as well. So you'll see some nuanced differences in your applications, and you'll be able to see those and give us feedback on whether that's working for you or whether we can improve it. So let's get into this and start taking a look through the Notes client. You'll see that the outer framework has changed. We are across the top bar there, you'll see that the icons are now slimmer and thinner. Down the left-hand side, we are automatically docking that open menu that some of you have, some of you don't. And we have still got the navigation panel over on the right-hand side for doing things. And the main bit in the middle, the content area, you might call it, is still there. We've updated all of our action bars, and these all fit in with the Enchanted design system. So these are all the enchanted colors. You'll start seeing them popping up in things like Verse and Nomad and Same Time as well. But also, you need to understand that they are, a lot of the reason for the colors that we've chosen are because of accessibility. All of these meet color contrast, all of these meet zoom, all of these have alternate names, so screen readers work correctly. We're working through and making sure that everything works perfectly for all users, okay? And that's really important part of the Enchanted design system. We've also updated the calendar view. We're changing the colors. They've needed a refresh for a while. We're upgrading the icons in there to make them clearer as to what they are. And also you'll see that we've updated the action bar to be in line with the other views. Again, a lot of this is all to do with sticking with the Enchanted system and making sure that everything's accessible to everyone. Like I said earlier, a lot of the components are changing inside the forms, and we've gone through the mail file and a few other files, applications, to make sure that the forms have all been updated and everything's still in place, everything still works, and all of the big pieces that you would want to see are in the right places. As you can see here, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think this looks a bit cleaner, a bit fresher, a bit crisper than the previous versions of the templates that we've had. Not stopping at the notes, forms and views, we've also gone into the dialog boxes, and you'll see that we've started, in the find box inside the view, the quick find. If you start typing inside a view, you can obviously start finding things down the primary column of the view, and you can see that we've updated that. That's now web-based, so that we can do other things with it in the future. And you'll see that we're updating other dialog boxes as we get through. You'll see there's a lot of them in this list, and we'd like you to try and test them and tell us what you think of them. Tell us if you find any issues with them, especially if you're using them on a day-to-day basis and they don't provide the functionality or the user experience that you expect and require. One of the things that we've really looked at is a lot of the comment that we get is, or that I get as the Notes product manager, is that, oh, Notes is old, or my users tell me that Notes looks old. And one of the things that everyone points to is the preferences dialog box. So the design team, the developers and myself all sat down and we had a really big discussion and go through of the preferences dialog and how we could make that look more modern. One of the things that we came up with is this 2-column layer on the left-hand side, making sure that users understand where they are. We've simplified that list on the left to make sure it's shorter. And now when you dig into it, the sub menu that comes out sticks with it. So you know where you are in that list, and it starts from the position that you're at. So as you can see there, calendar and to-do, it starts with display at the same place in the menu structure and then drops down from there. So that's really easy for users to follow that flow as to where they are in the menu structure. And then over on the right, what you'll notice when you start going through in this is that every page is now uniform. So before there was a lot of different layouts, a lot of different colors being used. We've made everything uniform, clean, fresh, crisp, modern. We hope you like that. We love it. We've been using it for a while now in our sort of daily builds. And I can honestly say that this has made things a lot simpler. If you can't find things to start with, then don't forget you've still got the type filter text at the top there to find things. So one of our colleagues said, oh, I can't find the ports piece. I said, just type it at the top, just type in port and you'll find it. It trims down the list to show you exactly where to find things that you need to get to. We've also been updating the workspace. Yet again, another Notes release with another updated workspace. And this time, we hope we're finished because we've done a really good job on this one. We've made it cleaner, fresher. We've also taken the design decision, a very bold design decision actually, to make sure that all of the icons are a consistent size. So as you can see there in the top right-hand corner, clear case, you will see that that icon looks a bit pixelated, but that's because it's been enlarged from a small icon that you've had in a previous version of Notes, and that's all you could have in that version of the NSF when you created it, up to the new 64 by 64 or 128 by, I can't remember the resolution, I think it might be 256 by 256 by now, but basically you've got a nice big icon, and we are constantly working with the algorithm that does that enlargement. There may be ways of making it even better. We're looking to some work that we've seen from others as to if we can make that any better than it is already. But what we've done as well is we've added 2 new additional properties in the basic preferences in the previous screen. You'll see Notes 19 is don't show borders, and Notes 21 enlarge old workspace icons. So if you don't like this look and feel, you can go back. You can turn this stuff off if you want. If your users don't like it, you can actually do that if you want to. So you can have all those icons go small again by turning off 21. You can put the borders, background things. You do get a border, by the way, if you do select something, so it is easy to know which icon you've actually selected. And then we've updated this properties panel. Over on the right-hand side there, you'll see that you can now get to the properties of a document or a view or a database or the workspace in this properties panel over on the right-hand side. This is where everyone expects it to be. This is absolutely, it follows other products. So for instance, if you go and take a look at Domino Leap or Leap, that's where all the properties are. If you take a look at pretty much any integrated development environment, that's where the properties are for the things that you're doing. Figma, all sorts of other systems have it over on the right-hand side there. Your users will get used to this very, very quickly. One of the things we're really mindful of in this design iteration is muscle memory. I'm sure if you ask any of the team, they will tell you that I've been banging on about user muscle memory for months now, and I just don't give up on it because I don't want users to have to relearn stuff. I think that's a waste of their time and ours. However, you'll see that the properties panel does change wherever you go. So if you go to a different document, it will follow you. If you go to a view, it will follow you, and the panel will change depending on what you're at. It's a lot like we've got in Nomad, and you'll see that some of the stuff that we've done in Nomad around the color pickers has come through as well, and you've got better color pickers now as well. The one thing I will say is currently in this release, you will notice that if you install the designer client, this panel won't show for you. We've had to make a design decision to say that only if you have the Notes client on its own will you see this panel. Because of the way the properties panel works and the info box works, if you go into designer and start changing things, actually what happens is the properties panel in your Notes client starts changing to match where you're at inside your designer client, and you can't see it in your designer client. So we've made the decision that if you install designer, this won't show. Okay, so be aware of that. So when you get into the forum, if you start saying, oh, I can't see the properties panel, it's like, have you got designer installed, will be our first question. All right. And then I never did get to put a new log image in here. Hang it. Okay, so we have been through and drunk our own champagne with the restyle tool, and we've been going through and restyling all of our all of the templates that we ship, or a lot of them. And you'll see down here we've done the notes log, we've done the directory, we've done the, I think we've done the personal directory as well as the public one. But we hope you'll think that there is, you know, we love them now because they're much more modern, they're much more in tune with where we want to be looking in terms of the Notes client and the place that we want to be at. So we hope you like them. I have to tell you that that Notes log color has changed. While we were doing the design iterations, we've changed that to a teal because I think it's more fitting with the design schema. So we've changed that one out, which is why I said put a new log image in there. I hadn't actually got to that, so I apologize. But I'm going to ask Trevor to join me and talk about the chat that we've added into the Notes client.
Hey, thanks, Tim. Hello, everyone. Yes, with Notes 2026, we're taking the opportunity to truly kind of integrate and embed the web-based client. It's an option where users can continue using the Eclipse base, or they can use the new web-based client. Just for awareness, with same time, we support a Connect client, an embedded Notes client, a web client, and a mobile client. And we've been prioritizing a lot of new features into our web and mobile experience. And as a result of that, those features like reactions and deletion haven't been surfaced or exposed to our Notes client user. And it's no secret that's the majority of our customer use cases. So what we did about a year ago is we enabled PWA integration with the Notes client. It worked, it was great, a little disconnected. So in this version, this early access release, you're going to be given an option to truly kind of wrap the web-based client into the Notes experience. So that will give them instant access to read receipts, deletions. In this build we'll be providing, you will see edit, and coming soon will be channel support. So it's a way for your Notes users to get immediate access to our more modern web-based client, which is much more feature rich. It's also important to know that this is the chat window experience. The contact list, which Tim talked about, excuse me, it's also been updated with new design elements. So it has a consistent look and feel. There is 25 years worth of features in that contact list. We wanted to maintain until we get that support in the web's version of the contact list. So this will be available This will require a same time 12.0.4, which is our same time 2006 server that will be a part of the early access program for this to be accessible. And we also recognize that as administrator, you do need control over your users and knowing what chat, integrated chat experience they have. So you can set this up and configure it via, the plugin customization file on install, desktop policy, or a same time policy to enforce whether they're using the traditional Eclipse-based chat window or if they're using this new web-based chat window. And we're looking for feedback. So I'm looking forward to hearing that, working with everyone involved going forward. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Thanks.
I'm sure Trevor will testify this, but I have been pestering him for months and months and months for edit and delete of previous chats, and we have that now, and you can test that. EAS used the 2026 version of Same Time to get that, but it's awesome. It's the thing we've all been waiting for. So I, thank you, Trevor and team. I'm using that on a daily basis, and I love it. It's brilliant. So updated controls, let's get to that. So as we mentioned, we've been updating the core controls that you use in your applications. We've got a few examples here. Here you can see a radio button and a checklist, or a list box actually with multiple options in it. And then also you've got a tabs table down the bottom there to look at. We went through loads and loads of design schemas for these, and these are the best that are around. Okay, these are the best that you get to. Now I want to point out that daily radio button looks like it's like blue with blue with blue, right? And that's because it's selected and it's the one that you're hovering over, or it's the one that's currently highlighted via the keyboard. If you were to use your keyboard to get up and down, the blue outer ring would move and then you'd be able to select it. So it doesn't always look that selected, okay? Don't worry about that. You'll find it's absolutely perfect when you're using it. But we have been through and done all of those controls you see there on the left-hand side. So please do make sure that you go and test those out in your clients and make sure that your applications that you've got that surface those work perfectly. This is what early access programs are all about, is you testing your stuff in your environment and making sure that it works for you. And then if it doesn't, then let us know, because we want it to work for you. We want you to be happy with it. We want you to be successful going forward with the product. One of the last things that we've done inside the Notes client itself is we've updated to the Inter font. It's one of the Google fonts. It's widely available and available to everyone in various places. So your users will see this, and it will just be comfortable and consistent for them across various places. Obviously, you can pick other fonts if you wish to, but we've defaulted to this one because it gives a really good, consistent look and feel. The last thing that I want to talk about inside the Notes client is not actually inside the Notes client at all. It's before you even get to the Notes client. It's about the install process. The way that we've been doing installs for the Mac version of Notes in the past has been that we do most of the install first inside our build room. And then what we do is compress that up and ship that out as a compressed image, and then have that uncompress in the client, and that normally takes 2 to 3 minutes to work on a client. Whereas on the Windows experience, what we do is we take every single file and we install it in every single different Windows version that you have, and it takes a while because we have to go through and install, expand, register, and make sure that that's working and verify it before we move on to the next file. So it takes a long time for that installation to happen. So what we've decided is the Notes team said, I wonder if we can do it the same way on Windows that we do on Mac. And that's exactly what they've done. They've taken it, they've done the install inside the build room, they've compressed up that installed image, and then they've made it installable, and we ship the compressed images. So it's a lot faster. And when I say a lot faster, it used to take about 15 minutes. On our own admission, it took about 15 minutes or more to install on Windows, but now it's about 2 to 3 minutes time required to install the Windows client. We know that your experiences are going to vary depending on the hardware and the disks and the machines that you have, but we'd love to get your feedback on that as to whether it's better for you or not. 2 to 3 minutes is the Notes client on its own. The designer and admin obviously take a little longer because there's more stuff to decompress, but please let us know how you get on with that. We hope that that helps you. Obviously, we want that to help you and make sure that that's really, really good for you. So with that all being said, I want you all to know how to get involved. So how do you join us on this path? Bearing in mind that Early Access Drop 1 will come out soon, very soon, next week, and there'll be another one in January, and we may do another refresh, okay? So we need you to be snappy about this. We need you to be quick and get on with it so that you can help us. We need you to join the forum, okay? So I want you all to take a note of this URL down the bottom here, or this QR code. Go and take a picture of that, launch that, copy that to your desktop, whatever, because this is how you're going to tell us what you found and what you'd like to change. And then how do you actually get the software? Well, you get the software by having a current maintenance contract with us. So if you are under support, you will be able to get that. If you have current software on subscription, I think they call it, then you'll be fine. You will see this icon appear next week, the Domino Early Access Program, and underneath that you will find Domino, Notes, and Traveler 14.5.1 or 2026, and that will be available on Tuesday next week, Tuesday the 25th, so 25/11/25, if you like, will be the day that you can get that absolutely for yourselves to try on your various platforms. So, do we have time for questions? Thomas, are there any questions you'd like to highlight?
I was trying to follow along what questions were posted. I guess there are like 200 or 300 questions.
Okay.
Oh my God.
While you're looking for one, I'm going to ask a poll. I'm going to launch this poll and we'll give people a couple of seconds to answer that. So what we'd really like to know is, what is your version that you have currently in production, mostly in production? So if you've got, you can pick the latest or the earliest, it doesn't matter, but mostly in production, what is the version that you have? So I can see just coming up to half of you have voted and it's going all the time. Brilliant. So have you found a question while people are answering that?
First of all, before we go into questions, a general feedback that few people have posted. Just want to say this out loud. They say good work on the UI styling, the theming, and so on. The UI updates look great. They were looking forward to this since a long time. So great stuff. Just wanted to pass this on to our dev team. Then I think several people asked the question, what about the Notes client on Linux? Will there be one?
We have no current plans to release a Notes client on Linux, unfortunately. If you do want Notes on Linux, there's nothing stopping you using Nomad. I do know several customers who use Nomad on Linux successfully too. So I would recommend that for you if you're on a Linux operating system.
Okay, then a question about the user interface. Have the system templates been redesigned? What about discussion database and so on? They also received a new restyled layout. It probably was posted, there was a question maybe before you said it.
Yeah, so we did that a while back. We haven't revisited those this time around. We've concentrated our efforts on the other databases that haven't received any love for a long time, as you guys put it in the questions. So yeah, you will see that we've not done that for the discussion and team room templates. We've been focusing on more of the system templates to make sure that they're up to date as well.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks everyone for your votes. Go on.
Yeah. Just going up to questions that were asked earlier on. So a lot of questions popped up when I showed the ClumAV integration, and new ideas were posted on how this could work, how this could be handled. So one question was, for instance, is ClumAV only working when new emails come in? And I already responded to that one question saying, no, it's anytime when mails are being routed, even internal mails are being routed. And we also are looking at scanning at rest, but that is feedback we would like to hear from you. What else you would expect from the ClumAV integration? So post that to the forum, please.
Cool. I'm just, well, on my days, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, maybe my colleagues can help me out scrolling through and picking a good question, which is worth bringing up as well.
I see a lot of questions about Linux client in here. You are right, all of you that have said it would be a great way to sort of not have to do Microsoft. You're right, we do understand it. It's just that it's not something we're planning on doing at the moment. There is an AHA idea for it. I don't have the reference number with me at the minute because I'm presenting, but I would recommend that you go to AHA, search that one out, and make sure that you voted for it and add a comment to it. That is the best way to tell us and add your support to that idea.
There's another question. Oh, there's another question. Does Enchanted include dark mode?
That's a good one. Enchanted doesn't include dark mode at the moment, but there is nothing to stop you going through and changing the colors yourself and creating your own sort of theme. But we don't have a system default of dark mode. There's a lot of reasons for that, most of which is the stuff that we control inside of Eclipse and the UI that you get in Notes is small compared to the amount of apps that you look at, and we don't have any way of controlling dark mode in the apps. So we've taken the decision not to concentrate on that this time around. If we can get to that in the future and make that useful, we will. But at the moment, because of the way that everyone has custom applications, it's really difficult for us to successfully implement dark mode, because as soon as we do, it could break people's applications, and we don't want that.
I was just responding to one question. Of course, people say Notes runs fine on Linux already if you use the Wine project, but that's another conversation that experts can have. Tim, can I pick this question and answer it myself, because it's about Domino IQ? There was a question from Pascal about is Domino IQ running in verse already? And I think there is something we have to say, that Domino IQ being a server feature technically runs server side, and what's missing in verse is the UI components to interact with Domino IQ. But that's something that we're working on. It's just not part of EA1, so stay tuned. If you like to see this or like to see a preview, we do have videos and proof of concepts that we could show, but maybe that is to be done in another webinar. Maybe we should note this down for the EA2 webinar so that we can provide a teaser.
The other thing is that on the Verse roadmap, there is the summarize using AI and reply using AI. Those are on the roadmap to achieve, and we're looking to achieve those early next year. So in actually, they're slated for first 2026-03. So you should see those by March next year.
Mm-hmm. And so that might be unrelated to the early access program, but that one question here caught my attention. What about designer client for macOS? I think the appropriate answer here is there is no designer client as such. However, Did you know that Nomad, which runs in your browser, actually allows you to open the design of an application or your templates? Of course, you need to have the appropriate permissions, but you can edit the design right from your browser. And that not only works on macOS, but also on Linux and Windows, if you like.
As long as you're not trying to do X pages, then you should be good, right? Pretty much. Okay, so there was a question saying, I have no early access in my download portal. And the answer to that is you will have on Tuesday next week. So the release date for this is Tuesday next week. Let me just make sure that that's clear. You will see this next week on Tuesday, but not before, okay? We are taking the cut of the build, I think it's today, so that we need to package that up, turn that into a package that we can put into the download portal, ship that off to the guys who puts that on the download portal. They need to check and verify that it's there, and then you'll have access to that on Tuesday. And with that, I think that's our time, Thomas.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Tim, I'm afraid that we can't answer all these questions. I mean, as we tried to answer some, approximately another 50 to 100 came in.
So what we're going to do is, what we'll do is we'll put these questions into the forum. We'll try and get them all in by next week. And you'll be able to see these questions and the answers that we've come up with in the forum. Just one question that I have seen that I do want to answer. I'm seeing one called, what is the release date? And the release date for the early access is the 25th of November, as I said, but the release date for the actual product itself, Notes and Domino 2026 1451, will be March next year. So it's a small timescale, it's a small early access. There's not much time in it. We're not doing months and months and months of it. The plan is to release in March next year, and unless that changes significantly, and of course if that does change, we'll put that in the early access forum. But you should see the final release, the EGA as we put it, of this version in March 2026. And with that, we're at the top of the hour. I want to respect everybody's time. I'd like to thank my presenters. I'd like to thank all of the dev teams, the design teams, the testing teams, the documentation teams, and everybody who's managed to get this early access program ready. Thank you to Monogiri Marketing for setting up this webinar. And I'd like to thank you all for your time today. Thanks very much for joining us. We hope you enjoy this release. Please give us your feedback. Without your feedback, we can't make it better. And you'll get what we give you at that point. Thanks for your time. We'll look forward to answering these questions in the support forum, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, thank you, and goodbye.